The Party Animals crushed it this weekend, taking the series 2-1.
And unfortunately, that puts the standings at 8-8 for the games between the Savannah Bananas and the Party Animals.
Today we'll break down all three games and even look ahead to next week when the Bananas will play in an NFL stadium. We can't wait.
And with that, welcome to Banana Breakdown, where we break down all things banana ball. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon, and I like to go a little bananas.
And I'm Sammy, or the life of the party.
And last week we did our predictions on where we thought this series would end. I guessed that the Bananas would sweep 3-0.
And I guessed that the Party Animals would sweep 3-0. And guess who was closer? This guy right here.
Definitely the life of the party.
Yeah, the Party Animals took it 2-1. And while I was hoping for a sweep, winning the series is good enough for me.
Yeah, and so this series was back in Grayson Stadium, which is the home stadium for the Savannah Bananas. And they were able to play a couple games there. It was a really good series. And an interesting thing to note with the standings is the Savannah Bananas started out the season really strong. They were up 5-2 in the first 7 games, and then the Party Animals went on a crazy run, and they went 6-2. So that took us between the first 2 games of this series, and then the last game, the Bananas came back, and that's how we get tied at 8-8 for the season.
It's a great time to be a Party Animals fan, with the momentum that we're on. I'm riding high, even though I did go, a little bit down with that loss, but still feeling great.
Yeah, well, we'll see how you feel after this weekend, because in an NFL stadium with all those amazing fans, the Savannah Bananas are going to come to play.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to it, but honestly, that feels like it's a game for all the marbles. We'll talk about why a little bit later, but yeah, that's a big game coming up.
Yeah, so let's get into, for now, breaking down the 3 games of this series. Game number 1, it pains me to say, showman of the night was a Party Animal. Garrett Delano had
My boy Garrett.
Amazing performance. He was obviously elected showman of the night for a good cause. He threw 4 innings. He threw a no-hitter, but that's not all. He got, across all 4 innings, he pitched them in less than 3 minutes. He got 3 strikeouts, no ball 4 sprints. He even earned himself a trick play, and the Party Animals were able to score 2-0 in the runs category to set them off for a great lead, and that carried them throughout the rest of the game.
Honestly, probably the best pitching performance we've seen so far this year, and that 5th point right there, that I love that he was able to get a trick play in this stretch. He wasn't just playing it safe, wanting to preserve his no-hitter. He was doing everything, playing in the flow of the game, playing the way that the Party Animals play, and he was still able to get that no-hitter. And more importantly, he put the Party Animals in position to win the game.
Yeah, and like we talked about, so it was a no-hitter. The reason why it wasn't a perfect game is there were 2 batters that did get on. Both of those are from trick plays missed. So another thing with banana ball that we are going to see going forward is that perfect games are going to be hard to come by because of all the trick plays. So we'll break that down a little bit more as we go into the rest of the podcast. But an amazing performance by Garrett Delano, and again, that helped carry that victory for the Party Animals. But a couple other things to note throughout the game from the Savannah Bananas side. Cowboy Kyle did something that was super cool. He went and was on an 0-2 count, so he got 2 strikes on a batter. Then he jogs back to the second base and goes 4 straight pitches from second base. So he got 3 balls and then 1. He got a strike. It was so close, and the batter barely foul-tipped it to stay alive. And then he obviously had to go back to the mound at that point when it was a 3-2 count. But just super cool as he was really trying to nail that strikeout from the second baseline.
Yeah, we have seen him do this before, but we have not seen him, we've seen him throw 1 pitch from there before, but we haven't seen him do this. And again, I've talked about it before, but the guts that it takes and the confidence to throw from second base. If you hang it from there, it's gonna be a hit, might even be a home run, and so he's got an arm, a lot of talent, and a lot of confidence to do that. I'm looking forward. Well, I want the Party Animals to do well, but I love the game. I'm a student of the game. I love it. It would be awesome to see him, pitch a strikeout from second base.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we've talked about is it's really cool with Banana Ball that even though we are fanatics for the Savannah Bananas and Party Animals respectively, it's really fun to just see these cool plays on both sides of the aisle and kind of see where it goes.
Yeah, I can respect it. I don't have to like it, but I can respect it.
That's fair. And then the ninth inning of game number 1, I wanted to call out something with that. The Party Animals were up, but they in the last inning, for the 3 outs, 2 of them were trick plays. It's really cool to see that they have the game on the line. Doing a trick play missed could lose them the game like it did in Miami. And even coming off of losing a game because of a trick play, they go for it and nail 2 out of the 3 trick plays in the final inning.
Yeah, like you said, they blew a game in Miami because of this. And so it's obvious that the Party Animals learned a lesson from that game, but I'm glad that the lesson that they learned was to keep trying.
Yeah.
It wasn't, they didn't learn the lesson of, oh, we need to preserve our lead. We need to just be conservative here and just get the out. No, they decided, you know what, we're just going to be better at trick plays. They didn't take the easy way out, and they show that they've improved. And, honestly, the Bananas should be scared going forward because if they're firing at all cylinders like that, they're going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, this was a weekend for a lot of trick plays there at Grayson Stadium. But on that point, it's going to be really cool to see in the Tour Championship at the end of the year, things like that. Final game, 9th inning, you better hope that they ended on a trick play. Like, that will be so cool to see, and it's amazing that they will put the game on the line to make a really cool experience for the fans.
Yeah, that will really put the fans' first motto to the test, right? To see what they care about more. Do they care about a championship more, or do they care about us?
Yeah.
Hopefully us.
And so we'll jump right into game number 2. In the first inning for the Party Animals, there were 2 home runs. Reese Hampton got a home run, and then Bryson Bloomer got a 2-run home run. So coming off of their win in game number 1, and then having a lead like that from inning number 1, the Party Animals are just, again, firing on all cylinders, and they ended up taking game number 2. We'll talk about a couple other things, but they just started it right off the bat really well.
Yeah, they looked awesome. They looked so comfortable in that stadium. These guys, they're traveling out to all sorts of different stadiums, but when it comes down to it, Grayson Stadium is where they're most comfortable. And It was obvious here that, after some mishaps in Miami, to come back to Grayson Stadium where both teams obviously are comfortable there, it really showed in how they performed.
Yeah. And then a couple other things that are just kind of cool things to note throughout the game. In the 7th inning, there was a funny moment where Dustin Baber came up to bat for the Party Animals, and his typical, the Irish jig that's going on in the background, but the camera wasn't on him. It was on every single banana in center field. And they were doing an Irish jig from center field all the way to their respective positions, including the pitcher, and he did the whole at bat after that. And just exhausted, I'm sure, from running all the way from center field doing a dance, but really cool to see that they can pull something like that off.
That would be exhausting to do that, and then you have to pitch an entire at bat. Kudos to them for pulling that off, all of them, for doing the jig, and I'm sure that Dustin Baber got a kick out of it too.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the chemistry that they have between these 2 teams. That's something that I think it really shows versus other sports leagues is these guys are best friends, and so that doesn't stop them from being incredibly competitive on the baseball field, which I think that actually sometimes fuels that competitive edge.
Oh yeah.
But them being friends, like you can see it just all the time. They are just able to have these really cool moments together, and something like that, like they're able to just kind of poke fun at each other and have a lot of fun there on the field.
Yeah, I've never played professionally, obviously. Just look at me. I don't think I'll be playing any sport professionally. But playing against friends, I think my competitive side definitely comes out when I'm playing pickup basketball or something with friends compared to if I'm just playing with some random guys at the gym or something like that.
Totally. And then, yeah, going into the another thing in the 8th inning. This one was something that absolutely shocked me when I was watching this game. So the Savannah Bananas were down 1-0 in the inning. So the Party Animals had already scored, and we had a runner on third base with 2 outs. Guess who comes to the plate? They bring in Stilts. And I was like, that is the most gutsy move to bring in Stilts in that moment. And he actually hit the ball. It was really cool. Running down to first base, it went to the right field, and they barely got him out at first base. So the runner would have scored pretty much anyone else who was batting, and obviously Stilts can't run as fast as everyone else because he's in stilts. But
he's not in stilts. That's just his name.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
he's just super tall.
Just
come
a 10-foot baseball player. I forgot about
that. These people, man. You gotta understand. That's just his name.
Can you imagine when he was born and they're just like, you know what, he's gonna be really tall, so we're gonna put his middle name as Stilts.
Yeah, that's definitely how it works. That was awesome. The guts to do that. He didn't ended up getting a hit. But Stilts, you gotta remember, base running is part of the game too, and you gotta figure that out. At some point, you gotta figure it out, buddy.
I think someday we're gonna see something like a little motorcycle, moped, something that Stilts can go on and just rocket down the first baseline.
Well, you would think with those long legs of his, how many steps is it really going to take him? Just start, leaping or something. You got to figure something out. Maybe a new base running coach will help, or a new workout routine or something to. But buddy, you gotta get to first base. Come on.
I think a couple new stretches might help stretch out those stilts a little bit. But basically, then later in the 9th inning, the Savannah Bananas almost came back. Coach Rack hit a bomb out to center field, almost went out of the park. Unfortunately, it was caught, and the Party Animals took home the victory yet again.
That felt good. But Coach Rack did get his revenge in the next game. We'll get to it, but. He had his moment, and it was pretty cool. All right, so let's move on to Game 3. Honestly, this one felt a little boring compared to the other ones. I don't know if I'm just a little biased or what. Maybe I'm just a little upset still. No, Banana Ball's awesome. It's all super exciting. But yeah, this one was awesome. The top moment of this has to be the Ty Jackson catch. This one was pretty popular on social media. One in contention for play of the year, I would say. Definitely the play of the weekend. He's in the outfield, obviously, and a ball goes out there, and he jumps up, catches it behind him, but also under his legs, and then he falls to the ground, and the best part is at the celebration. Honestly, you don't see this much, but he spikes the ball down, and it's like he just caught a touchdown pass. That's the feel of it. It's like he knew that what he did was super cool, and he just it was a great celebration.
My favorite part of the play was DR Meadows in center field running out to me. You see him on the screen, just laughing his head off and giving Ty Jackson a congratulations. So it's really cool to see. He was not expecting Ty Jackson to do that, and so it was really funny.
Yeah, it was incredible. All right, so we'll get to what Coach Rack did. So probably the most important part of this game. The Party Animals honestly only had one solid inning. Funny enough, the inning that they won was the inning of the Ty Jackson catch. They won, I think that was the 4th inning that they won. But it really was the Bananas game the whole way, and this was really shown with Coach Rack walking off in the 8th inning. They only needed 1 run to win the inning, but he had a 3-run shot. He got his home run, and he was able to walk off the inning and honestly just put the game away. It put him up 4-1 going into the 9th, and after that, the Party Animals didn't have enough left to come back from that.
Yeah, absolutely incredible performance by Coach Rack, especially in the 8th and 9th inning. He has been phenomenal this
Yeah,
year.
he is clutch,
Definitely.
like the kids say. Do they still say that?
Some kids.
I think sports guys still say that.
But those were the 3 games. As you see, that affected the standings, now tied at 8-8. But a couple things that we wanted to bring up from those games. The first one that I wanted to talk about specifically was Garrett Delano. Threw that no-hitter across 4 innings, and unfortunately, based on how Banana Ball goes, he was pulled out after that. And we wanted to talk about that a little bit of. The main question is, should Banana Ball players be allowed to stay in and finish off a no-hitter? To give a little bit of background, the logistics that you have to take into consideration is every time there's these different celebrations, there's the different dances. For the party animals specifically, they do their dance in the 6th inning for the pitcher. So whoever is on the roster to be in on that 6th inning, they practice the dance with the shortstop and the second baseman. So it would be difficult to pull some of those things off, but I'll pass the question over to you. Should Banana Ball players be allowed to continue a no-hitter?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this because, so it was sad that Delano didn't get a no-hitter. He only pitched for 4 innings. It was an impressive four-inning showing, but he doesn't have a no-hitter, because the game didn't end with no hits.
Yeah.
But so I'm kind of going back and forth because in baseball, in the MLB, I remember when I was younger, I grew up a Mariners fan, and the Mariners had a combined no-hitter in 2012.
That's awesome.
And so multiple pitchers pitched, but overall, it was still a no-hitter. Super impressive to have a combined no-hitter. So on one side of it, it's like you've got to pull them out when it's necessary. But on the other side, I started thinking about this, and how cool would it be if a pitcher in a Banana Ball game had a chance at a no-hitter, and they're like, all right, you know what, just go up there, do your thing, and while you have all of the momentum in the world, you are feeling great, you're doing a no-hitter, why don't you try that dance that you haven't practiced? It's just part of the game, that's, if you nail that dance, then that adds to the no-hitter. You do all this stuff that you haven't practiced at all, and you keep up the no-hitter, I'd like to see it.
Can you imagine going up, doing the dance you didn't know, throwing a strike, and hit a home run off you? But yeah, I lean a little bit towards the side of, I hope they can figure out a way to let the pitcher stay in. And if you watch the live stream, Garrett Delano, after he was pulled out, he talked, I guess, at the end of the game, he talked with the sideline reporter, as he was the showman of the night, about it. And he was saying that he had ended up asking, like, hey, is it possible for me to stay in? Does that even work? And he's like, now that I've said it out loud, maybe I jinxed it, so maybe it won't work. And they ended up deciding to not let him go through. But my thought was, maybe this was the first time this has happened, and they haven't really had to think about the logistics of it. And if you watch the live stream, he's talking to Jesse Cole for a couple minutes on the sideline. And I wonder if that was part of the conversation of Garrett talking to Jesse and saying, hey, as a pitcher, this is a really important thing to me. Like, I'm totally fine how it happened this time, but like in the future for me or any other pitcher that gets in this situation, it would be really cool if we could figure out the logistics on how to do this. And knowing Banana Ball and how they've been able to figure out all of these different problems, I mean, this weekend they're going to figure out how to play in an NFL stadium. I have full confidence that if that's something they want, they'll be able to figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah, it really comes down to the philosophy of Banana Ball, and which is, fans first. They've got to decide and figure out, what do the fans value more? Do they value the chance to witness something historic like the first ever Banana Ball no-hitter? Or do they value the other entertainment stuff that goes along with it?
Yeah.
Both are cool. Both are part of the game, and so you just have to figure out what is most important and then go from there. So while I think it's safe to say that we will never see a Banana Ball perfect game because of all the trick plays, the reason why Garrett Delano didn't have a perfect game here is because there were 2 missed trick plays, and so that would be like an error. So no, not a perfect game, just a no-hitter. I don't think we'll ever see that. I do hope that we see a Banana Ball no-hitter.
I do too, but can you imagine, like, just the possibility of a perfect game?
That would
And
be insane.
Coming down, the pitcher's thrown a perfect game the whole time, ninth inning, 2 outs, pop fly to center field, backflip catch to get the perfect game. Can you imagine the historic nature of that? How cool that would be for the fans? Like, again, I don't know if that would ever happen, but the fact even thinking about, like, with all the trick plays, that would be the most phenomenal thing ever.
It'll never happen, but I think that might be the most impressive thing ever.
We'll clip this, and in 10, 15 years down the line, when there's a perfect game in Banana Ball.
When Garrett Delano has the first perfect game in Banana Ball history, you know what? Yeah, quote me on that. Garrett Delano will have the first perfect game in Banana Ball history.
Right on the books.
Yeah, I'm not scared. I'll say it.
Well, we do have one other discussion item that I know you wanted to bring up today.
Yeah, so this is more just my personal, how do I want to word this? I'll just, give a little bit of background. I don't know if you know this about me, but obviously the people watching don't know this about me. But I'm really proud of the fact that I was a landscape specialist for Miller Park at Brigham Young University back in the day when I was going to school. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I got to go to baseball games for free and work on the field. It sounds cooler than it is, and it doesn't even sound that cool. So, Miller Park in Provo, Utah, where BYU plays baseball, is an all-turf field. So just like Grayson Stadium is. So I have some experience with turf fields, and let me say, there is a reason why it says no food or drink on the field. And man, Bryson Bloomer, it was an awesome moment. It was his birthday. He got a run. They surprised him by throwing a pie in his face. And that pie went everywhere. It was all behind where the catcher is. And it took them so long to try to clean that up. And it's not, let me tell you, with experience, that is not cleaned up. Like, from what they did, in between, in the middle of the inning, they were trying to hose it down and everything. They wiped it up before.
Yeah.
This isn't really much of a discussion, but I just want to say that I cringed when I saw that. I feel for whoever the maintenance people are on that field. Really, kudos to all of them that work at Grayson Stadium for the amount of stuff they have to clean up, whether that be food, the beer that Dustin Baber drinks, the confetti, the whatever, all the stuff. It's so much work, and honestly, just a shout out to you guys. I would have been so mad if I had to do something like that. I already was way too frustrated with that job. I'm talking too much here. No one cares about this, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, like, definitely kudos to all the people that make this thing a possibility. We saw one other really cool moment where Coach Rack was doing a walk-up to a song about rain. It wasn't raining, so what do? They have, like, people with a camera, people with the hose, and they're spraying Coach Rack absolutely drenched when he goes up to bat. But, like, they're going around in circles with the camera and the hose, and one of the coolest moments there was Coach Rack is lip-syncing into the camera, getting poured on by the hose while walking up to the plate, and they're doing circles. So the hose is at some point going to come and clip his foot. And you see him in that moment, he can see that the hose out of his periphery is coming, but he's looking straight at the camera, and he jumps at the perfect moment. The hose goes underneath, and you hear the crowd go crazy because they saw what just happened.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, so cool. Honestly, there's so much that goes into making a banana ball game, and there's a lot of people that aren't in the spotlight that don't get the credit that they deserve. And really, we just want to say, great job. You're doing great. You're making the product awesome. It's great.
Yeah, and with that, I just say I can't believe that it's all free on YouTube. Like, the fact that we get these really cool games and all of these amazing things going on, and it's free. Like, if you're watching this podcast and you didn't know that you can view the games for free, just go to the Savannah Bananas YouTube channel. You can watch them live or watch the replays. It's such a fans first thing that they are available for free. And we can talk about that in detail on a podcast in the future, but just wanted to highlight that of the amazing work that the team puts in. But for now, we wanted to go into a new segment of the best fact of the weekend. So if you have seen on the live streams, when a batter walks up, in addition to some of the stats that they also show a fun fact. That fun fact changes at least every game. I've seen some different ones come up. So we noticed a couple fun ones, and we wanted to each highlight our top one from the weekend.
Yeah, so my top one was when Dalton Malden came up to bat, and his just simply said, "Look him up on Spotify." And you know what I instantly did? I pulled out my phone, got my Spotify app open, and I looked him up. And I was impressed, honestly. His music was pretty good. His most streamed song has over 8 million streams, so shout out to him. That's a lot of streams. 32,000 monthly listeners. Maybe with I'll have to check back in a couple of days to see if that's gone up with people like me looking him up on Spotify. I'm sure it's gone up. Yeah, so good stuff. His music is pretty good. I'm really impressed, and these guys have so much talent. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, mine was a little bit different, but Tanner Thomas on the Party Animals, his literally had his cell phone number. So if anybody wanted to ever reach out and send a text message to Tanner Thomas, go back on the live stream. I can't remember which game it was, but one of the games this weekend had his cell phone number on there.
That is crazy. I would never ever do something like that.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to at some point. I can talk to the Banana Ball team and we can get your number on there.
Please don't. I value my privacy way too much. Please.
Definitely true. Very gutsy of Tanner to put that out there, but definitely check that out if that's something that you are interested in. But we wanted to end the podcast today with a segment talking about the future, and specifically the future of this next weekend, with the historic nature of the first time a Banana Ball game has been played in a football stadium. It's an NFL stadium, and the series is all tied up. It's 8-8, so whoever wins this is going to have the bragging rights of now being ahead for the season.
Yeah, like I said before, this one really feels big. Yeah. It feels like it's for all the marbles. It's even though we're really early in on the season, there's so many games left to be played, so many series left. But this one, it being the first one in an NFL stadium, it's tied. And only one game this weekend. It just feels huge.
Yeah, and they're going to have 65,000 fans, so it's going to be the biggest Banana Ball group of fans they've ever had in one game. And then the other thing is, we'll put up a picture here for those watching the video version of the podcast. But the stadium set, they've got the baseball field there in the football stadium. And something that you might notice is on the right field line, it's a very short way from home plate. There was a video from Jesse Cole that actually shared that it's somewhere around 230 feet. So Grayson Stadium is, I believe, around 310 feet to the right field line. So there will be a lot more home runs this game, is my prediction.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more home runs, and also a lot more, I think, and I think you agree with me, there will be more fan-caught foul balls, which will result in outs. And so just simply because there are way more seats, and if you look at that picture there, they're in the foul ball territory. There's just so many seats, so many more opportunities for a foul ball to be caught.
Yeah, and so that was where we wanted to do our predictions for the week. We wanted to focus on the number of home runs and the number of fan-caught foul balls we think are going to happen. So I know that the record was recently broken for fan-caught foul balls, and that sits at 4 in one game. I'm not sure what the exact number is of home runs in a game, but I do think that this weekend they will be breaking that. So we just want to put out our predictions and see how close we can get to those things. So
I'm thinking 6 caught foul balls.
6 caught foul balls?
Yeah, so break the record pretty significantly, by 2. That's what I'm thinking. Just honestly, like I said, just because there's going to be way more of an opportunity. We don't necessarily know how big the net's going to be or whatever.
Yeah.
But there are way more fans and way more of an opportunity. Well, maybe that can cause a little bit of chaos if fans are like trying to tackle each other or something to catch it, and then it just falls to the ground. We'll see.
Okay, we'll write you down for 6. Ready to shock the world? My prediction is 7.
You just wanted to one-up me.
I did, but also I do think that it's a real possibility, because in the game that they broke it at 4, they caught 3 of them in the first 3 innings.
Yeah.
At the Miami Marlins MLB Stadium. So with additional fans, and I believe that Jesse Cole and others are going to hype it up at the game of like, hey fans, we're trying to go for a record. Like, let's do it right here. I'm going to go with 7.
Yeah, and with those games in Miami, there were 3 in those first innings, and then there were also a couple that were really, really close. Like
Yes.
one that was deflected and didn't count, one that was almost caught. So yeah, I think we're in agreement that the record's going to be broken.
Totally. Okay, on the home run side, let's go there. So 230-ish yards on the right field line. The left field line is way out there. If anybody hits one there, that would be really impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, how many home runs do you think they're going to go?
I say, you're putting me on the spot here. 9.
9?
That's
Okay.
1 per inning.
1 per inning?
That would be insane, but yeah.
Question now is, do I one-up you and go to 10? Or do I play it safe and go to 8?
Or just go crazy with it.
Go crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go a little bananas, if you will.
Let's go bananas. I'm going to go 12.
Jeez.
12 home runs in the football stadium. I think that the players are going to be
There's going to be
for
no
it.
home runs now. It's going to be the most boring banana ball game ever. There's going to be not a single foul ball somehow, period, and no home runs.
Just don't let Garrett Delano pitch, because if he does, then it'll be another no-hitter and we won't get any home runs. But yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot. I think that they're all going to be aiming for that right field line. So we'll see. We'll see where we get on the next podcast with our predictions, but that's what we wanted to share with you today, and we really appreciate all of your support with our podcast. It's been amazing to see, and we're really excited to keep this going, keep breaking down these games, and keep growing as Banana Ball is growing.
Yeah, honestly, we're just having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch the games. It's fun to talk about them, and we just really appreciate all the support. And you can, like and subscribe, all the stuff that everyone says. And we're on social media, Instagram and X. We love to interact with people there too.
Yeah, so thank you so much. We will let you know next week how the football stadium goes, and we will see you later. Go Bananas!
Go Party Animals!